Hi guys, and welcome to the final episode of my life. So this episode was pre-filmed and I did get the footage for this video, so you guys will be seeing my dad again. Here's the turtle if you missed him. So today's episode is actually going to be about coping because I want to end on a bit of a higher note. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. So before I tell you how I personally choose to cope with all of my issues, I actually interviewed my dad earlier, and I also interviewed one of my best friends from elementary school who is on the East Coast right now. So let's see what they say.
I think people who avoid situations are cowards. They're stupid. I mean, I would kind of not try to avoid it. I would be blunt, very blunt. That's me, because I'm a very blunt person. I'm gonna tell you like it is. But just come forward with it.
I'm kind of like think of it as a ghost looking on the outside of reality and see how everything else is going around me, and see if there's other ways I could deal with things and find the positive in that situation and concentrate on that versus concentrating on the negative part of it.
So as you can see, my dad likes to focus more on the positive sides of things, and my best friend likes to focus on more of expressing herself. She likes to let people know how she feels. I actually found a website called the National Cancer Institute, and they have a whole page on coping for patients and for family of patients. What they say. So here's what the National Cancer Institute suggests that patients should do to cope with having cancer. They think that they should look for the positives, which means that this is actually what I do. You look for the positive sides of anything. You know that the negatives exist, but you focus more on the positive. You start thinking, I'm going to get through this. My doctor says my counts are fine. Everyone says that I'm going to get through this one day. They also say, don't blame yourself for your cancer. Like for me, at the very beginning when I was diagnosed, my doctor told me nothing could have caused it, nothing could have prevented it, it just happened. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself for your cancer. You're not a burden to anyone around you. If anything, the cancer is a burden to you, but it's not your fault. The next thing they suggest is to try not to beat yourself up. If it's hard, we know it's hard, but don't beat yourself up. Try to keep yourself up and keep yourself positive. The next one they suggest is you choose when to talk about your cancer. Don't let anyone force you to talk. Don't force yourself to talk. When you're ready to talk, just come out and talk. You could talk to one of your friends, family, or just write in a journal. Find ways to just help yourself relax. You don't feel obligated to finish anything. Don't feel like you have to do something. If you're tired, rest. If you want to read a book, read it. Keeping yourself stress-free will keep you sane. Look for things you enjoy. Just do things that make you happy. Hang out with your family if you can. Do a puzzle, play some games. Just whatever makes you happy, do it. And lastly, they said, look at what you can control. Obviously, you can't control your cancer, but you can control the things around you. You could plan your day out if that's what calms you. You can control your education. For me, I couldn't do online schooling and I wasn't gonna force myself to. That was me taking control. But there's many different other ways. That's just how I do it. So after listening to my dad, my best friend, and reading through the National Institute, I realized that some things I agree with, some I don't, and I've also done more research into coping and found also a few other ways that people can cope. For me, I like a good distraction. This falls under the category of do what makes you happy. I like to stay happy. I don't like to be distracted by the negatives. If I'm hooked up to a machine, I will pull up YouTube and show weird videos to my dad. Also, even when I'm feeling down, my dad will sense that and he will start making jokes. We will just be two adorable people relaxing in cancer treatment. That's how we do. For me, I like to talk to my friends and family too. I have family who care so much about me and they want to hear everything about what's going on. They're curious about what's happening because not all of them can be with me in the treatment because I can't be around a lot of people. But when I'm feeling down or if I just want to talk about it, I always know that I can go to them. Or I have extremely close friends like my friend Yazamene, and I have a few other friends who are still out here in San Diego, thankfully. I just know that love is the key. Knowing that someone cares about you is what keeps me going, and just knowing that I can do it. Sometimes friends, family, distractions can only go so far. Sometimes you need a third-party opinion or just someone to empty yourself out to, just kind of like painting a new picture on a blank canvas. I started talking to a therapist. No, someone who's never met me before. They know kind of about what I've gone through, but not my specific story. She is willing to listen, and she also gives me advice when I don't know what to do. It's actually helped me a lot, and even though Yazamene doesn't agree with therapy, I find it very helping because sometimes I just need to vent, and I like it. Of course, you're not going to find a therapist right off the bat. I mean, if you want to just vent, then you can go vent to anyone, really. Sometimes there's a weird connection when you talk to a person, and that's what it's like with a therapist. When you talk to someone, and when you talk to someone who you know will help you, there's a major difference. Another great way to cope with something is to join a support group. This method is great, but it's not for me. For me, I like to talk to people who I know about, who know me, not about what I have. Support groups are good for like people who want to be understood and want people to fully understand what they're going through. So in a support group, it's full of people who have gone through what you're going through, are going through, or going through something similar. It's also a great place to meet people. It's pretty great for a lot of people, but of course it's not for everyone. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I sure did enjoy filming it. Like I always say, the research I did